talking about what I wanted to talk about. First off, there's Marshall Vandruff on the upper right talking about um, an experience with Bern Hogarth on the Draftsman podcast. Here, I'm gonna have to close the door because it's cross audio from outside. I might have to open the window because it's gonna be roasting hot. There's gonna be cars. Do it. Okay, so all right. So please pay no mind to the giant face in the upper right, but I'll explain that guy later. But we have him as an emoji for this week in my Discord right there. But yeah. So anyway, what we're covering today is two artists mainly. I also mentioned Mike Matisse. We're probably dipping a little bit into him too, because some of what we're covering also is adjacent to Mike Matisse's four spot books, but he's not going to be a focus tonight. So the focus tonight is two things. First off, my art spirit animal of the moment, Trad Moore, which we were talking about last night, actually, in last night's figure drawing set. And down here, Bern Hogarth. Bern Hogarth is a really interesting character. He's as the stream that I showed with Marshall Manos. He has kind of he taught at Art Center for a very long time, and he was like a real classic comic artist who worked on like Tarzan like way back in the day, and he's well known for publishing lots of books on his figure drawing, and people like Marshall Vandruff, of course, who I actually took. Marshall Vandruff is the reason why I don't really need to study animal drawing too much, because I'm pretty good, damn good at it. So if I get back to focusing on animal drawing, the muscle memory is like there thanks to Marshall Vandruff, in the animal drawing class I took from him. But yeah, so I'm gonna show a couple things real quick. So first off, let's meet Trad Moore. So Trad Moore is a really fucking great comic artist who has evolved in his style over the years quite a bit. He was mainly like known for like a really kind of sharp, solidly drawn angular style, Trad Moore, that started to get more dynamic and stuff, and now he's kind of pushing in a way more psychedelic approach. Like The Strange Talent of Luther Strode. This is really kind of angular, solidly drawn style and stuff that he's got here going on here, which is a really wild series. And then this is like a little bit more recent work by him. It's fan art of Berserk that he did. This is a really wild Bloodborne cover he did more recently. Really wild, kind of psychedelic Doctor Strange. There's like kind of a parody of Alex. I forget. I don't know what this comic this is for, but this is a parody of Alex Moore's art for Tool. And or an homage, if you want to put it that way. And this is from his series Silver Surfer Black. It was very extremely artist driven. Here's his Ghost Rider. There is that angular style I'm talking about. One of the best runs on Ghost Rider ever made, I think. Robbie Ray's Ghost Rider. So, like, the reason why he's become my artistic muse is because, like, I look at him and like, oh, those are Bern Hogarth rhythms. Those are also Mike Matisse Force rhythms in there too. Like, I see bits and pieces of like what he's homaging and being influenced by. His work kind of looks like Bern Hogarth turned up to 11, and then taking LSD. So like this is like this is like older style, this is like his more recent style. He also is responsible for Moore Spider-Man 805. I think it's 805. It's either 805 or 855. 855. Spider-Man, Moore Spider-Man. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so the recent recent Spider-Man milestone. Spider-Man 850. There's a short story inside of Spider-Man 850, illustrated by him, that introduces a new character named Tina Foreshoes, who's a psychedelic wizard dog basically, with who wears little wizard booties, who wears a wizard hat and little booties on her feet. Um, Let me see if I can find a good. Let's see. Blog. There's a blog that posted a bunch of pages from the thing. Tradmore blog. Tradblog. There it is. Tradblog 2. That's what it's called. Let's see if I can find the Here it is. So here's the Foreshoes story from Spider-Man 850. Yeah, Spider-Man goes to another magical dimension world where he meets Tina Foreshoes, this character right here. This little wizard dog. Who barks in like Peter Max she barks in like kind of a mix of like Peter Max and Roger Dean font. Orf, like a mystical orf and stuff. And I really love these pages because look at how crazy he goes with like this is like a mix of like Peter Max 1960s psychedelic 1960s 1970s psychedelics with like dynamic rhythm lines and everything, like a mix of Mike Matisse Force and Bern Hogarth and stuff. And it's like deliberately kind of wonky on purpose because like Trad was always drew like really solid angular shapes, and this is like the polar opposite of that. It's really very interesting. It's kind of like hyperactive yellow submarine. Look at yeah, but it's really cute. There's this is my favorite panel right here. Are these like that one of close up? Well, this one's a great panel, but then there's it's like pathos stuff going on here. Oh, Spidey's like, oh. I love Spidey's reaction here. Oh, holding his chest, heartbroken. Or because these are two characters that were friends who were forced to fight by some evil overlord or whatever. Anyway, so her howls break the boundaries of reality. This is a dog that barks magic missiles, just so we're clear. Yeah, anyway, so Spider-Man has a new friend, and probably my current favorite new Marvel superhero, Tina Foreshoes, and created in part by Tradmore. And there's some lovely sketches, development sketches he did of trying different species of dogs and stuff. I love how unassuming she is, like in Orf. It's really cute. But anyway, yeah, like that's like a big contrast from like that really kind of heartwarming style. It's like a big contrast from like yeah, like this very angular, sharp, dark synth metal kind of stuff, kind of tones being evoked. But yeah, like then there's like this, like this is also one of my other favorite of his panels, the Batman right there. Here I'm gonna put on TV focus so we get more. Whoop, wrong button. Hang on. I'm gonna put it on Cintiq focus. There we go. So now we have more monitor real estate space to do the class on when I do the time poses. So the way I'm going to do the format right now, well, first off, I'm going to go through this real quick. So we kind of know about Trad more. There's a lot of videos that you can find with interviews with him. I actually have not watched any of the videos of him talking about his work yet. So I knew of his work, but I never really dug into him, and I kind of want to now. So I can, yeah, it's very clear he loves drawing the human figure. So it'll be fun to learn more about him in the coming weeks. So I plan on digging more into him and any artists adjacent to him, because I'm just going in the pattern of just running with whatever muse comes across me. My table. What time is it? We'll be starting the figure drawing set very shortly for the warm-up set. But yeah, the other thing is that I'll mention more in detail Bern Hogarth, but here's Bern Hogarth doing a head drawing demonstration, so you can see what his teaching style was like and stuff. I think this illustration actually went into one of his books too. But yeah, Bern Hogarth. Today we're combining a little bit of Bern Hogarth, a little bit of Tradmore, a little bit of Mike Matisse, although he's not featured on here, but I'll maybe bring him up a little bit later, and quite a lot of Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee is a walking anatomy sculpture. So before we begin, I want to show you what this entire file that I've got right here is something I started today. Like, this is my warm-ups. Kind of awkward, sort of getting in the rhythm. And like, this is me kind of like, there's bits and pieces of here that are like slightly kind of riffing on images from Trad Moore's stuff. Kind of like playing with like bending and twisting the figures and stuff. Then there's this, which is like further development art for a character I'm working on. There's also this back here. This was from last night. This is where we left off last night. And yeah, some other stuff, really pushing exaggeration. And there's more here. I'll show more of this in detail later, but this is just to give you a scope of like what I've been doing all morning. And this is something for another idea that I've had years ago that I'm kind of revisiting. The image is reversed because I was drawing in the canvas and reversed here, but it's kind of a weird like ballet costume fable sort of story that kind of like a weird abstract expressionist tale, a version of Little Red Riding Hood with different spins on different like fairy tale themes and these kind of characters that blur the line between organic and inorganic creatures, kind of like JoJo stands, but are also kind of like larger than life fairy tale fables or like ballet costume dancers. That's something I want to develop some more. Anyway, so I'm going to start a new file for our illustration set. So save this real quick, and I'll just make a new folder, and then we'll get started on the first 20-minute pose set this evening, or this afternoon. 13. Good. Burn. There we go. That's the theme of today. Today's theme is Trad Burn. Trad Burn Garth. Or more Trad Garth or something. I don't know. Whatever name combination you can think of. Anyway, so let's get started. I'm gonna make the pose set 2 minutes, but the spirit of what we're gonna be doing this evening is you're free to figure invent as you warm up. Try to do a combination of like some figure invention and warm ups and stuff. So maybe we'll start with this pose here. So okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes 30 seconds. 1 second. Just gotta get rid of this.
1 second. Starting now.
Oh God. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes 30 seconds.
20 minutes and 30 seconds. Starting now.
All right, so let me put on some stream beats real quick. I'll start the set. Well, I'll pause it before. Stream beats. You can start drawing the pose right now. Let me know if this is the good size to draw the pose at, or if I need to make the pose area real estate bigger. Oh, also, I meant to bring up Magma Studio today. I think we might do that during one of the break bits. I'll bring it up so we can do a big collab drawing or something. I think that'd be really fun to do today. So yeah, one of the things that I'm getting a lot more out of just from the sheer volume of practice I'm putting in is I'm getting a lot more intentionality and control with what I'm doing. Like, and more confidence to kind of try to break stuff too. Anyway, this is a warm-up set, so just try to use your powers of observation and like recall what you've been working on lately if you've done like drawing sets with me before. I'll talk a little bit through it first. I'll talk a little bit through what I'm doing to give some people here some cues of stuff to do. But yeah. Oh yeah, I meant to stream on also on let's see here. I'm also going to stream this to Discord, I think. That would be good. Do that. Do that. Okay, good. So I'm also streaming this to Discord as well, so we can get it in real time. So the only issue I have is I haven't figured out a good spot to put the chat box yet in this. On the screen real estate that I have. Okay, so that's a really playing it safe figure. But this is just warm up, so this is okay. So one of the first things I'm doing is I want to establish some head direction on this little quick, simple egg shape I made. Like what direction his his eyes facing, and also it doesn't have to be perfect. So this is just a 2-minute sketch. But let's see here. What I do with this. Anyway, this warm-up set can be a little bit more controlled compared to what we're going to be doing later. So I want to see how far we can like really push stuff. But for right now, it's a good idea to kind of just recalibrate things. I already did a warm-up set this morning, but I took a break, took a drawing break, so it's going to be for a few hours, so it's going to be kind of a little bit of a warm-up adjustment period as I get back in. Hope the cars aren't too noisy behind me. I don't think they're being picked up by the Discord, but they might be getting picked up by the Twitch stream. So, maybe I should open this door and it's not too noisy. I think I really do want to have the chat box on screen if I can. Let me figure out where the best spot to place that would be. Yeah, that's not gonna work there. One sec. Maybe like here? I don't know. Maybe shrink it, put it down here. Something like that. Is it somewhat readable at that size though, is the thing? I kind of... fuck. Maybe like here would work, I guess. I don't know. Fucking hell. Let's just make it really, really small for now until I figure out what to do with it. I need like a stream consultant on I'm making a better layout for my streams. Mm-hmm. You've drawn this guy a lot? Yeah. He seems to show up a lot. If you're getting lost in the details when you're figure drawing, then, I mean, that's a sign to kind of go back to line of action and stuff. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Although you can see, like, when I was kind of vibing with this stuff, this is a lot more like kind of playing with bits and pieces of anatomy and so on. Here, I'll share some of the other stuff I did where I was really kind of playing with pushing things. This was actually from a Glenn Vilppu thing I did on Friday morning. New Masters Academy had a free Glenn Vilppu figure drawing set. Let's see here. One of my favorite drawings so far, one of my favorite development drawings that I've done so far for that goblin character that I'm trying to develop something for. Let me find the image in here. I believe it's in here somewhere. It's either in here or in the other file. Here it is. This one. Him sticking to the wall with his feet. Like it's kind of like a, well, he's got like kind of tree frog abilities and stuff. Yeah, I've got some other drawings of him where I'm kind of playing with this design. One of them is a really, really cartoony, strange looking one that I kind of like because it looks unique. But I'm gonna keep playing with it because like I'm just trying to like exhaust as many ideas as I can for him until I like get something that feels like something I really, really want to roll with for like for making a storyboard with him or an animatic with him. So where we're concentrating our energies right now is like, this is basically like figure drawing and gesture drawing force like storyboard art stuff. Like this is, we're kind of, the way I'm structuring my classes right now is I'm trying not to segment things. Like the figure drawing sets that I do throughout the week are just going to keep building into each other. And unless we are working on some successive project in those class times that's related to like animation and storyboarding, it's going to keep building on things like this. Like, as in if I do a, so if I like, if I teach an animation class, that means throughout the week I'm going to be doing a lot of animation stuff. There will still be like time pose sessions and stuff, but throughout the week there's going to be a lot of animating, even during these time pose sessions. I'll just find some way to kind of integrate the time pose session type practice with animating. One of the best ways to do that is frame by frame action studies. Yeah, this week we've been concentrating on exaggeration of the figure, and I've been getting I've been able to like get warmed up enough to get really extreme with exaggerating the figure. Kind of find a little bit more of my voice in doing so, and also about thinking fourth and three-dimensionally about the drawings. And we did a lot of really fun off-site Discord stuff this week. I'm gonna also try to like dip into some more storyboard related stuff next week for our off-stream study sessions that happen in Discord. But I'm concentrating on this for now because this is kind of like, you really do need to get very fluent with figure posing and stuff to get good results in storyboards. And I feel like I'm starting to break new ground on that, so I kind of want to double down on that without killing the momentum. Oops, we'll shift that one. Let's see here. Yeah, that's a good pose. Do a new page. Okay, Google, how much time left on timer?
5 minutes and 29 seconds left.
So we got about 2 or 3 more poses. So as people here know, that I was originally going to be enrolling in like a storyboard class, but unfortunately it filled up before I could sign up for it. But that's okay. I've got some other options I'm looking at for that. And the most important thing is that in the lead up to trying to like get ready for that, I really exercise my work ethic. Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, no, we're going to start steering things in a animation direction again. And the reason for that is I've gotten a bunch of like job training resources from a lady who runs an anime studio in Japan.
Excuse me, I have one question.
Who's talking?
Korea Home Official. That's I'm new here, but I wanted to have a question. I have a question about the pose. How would you push the design in the story and exaggerate the pose? For instance, are those settings two settings that are closely related, like pushing the story and the design, or they are acting on themselves?
Go with the most emotion. Go with your whatever is your emotionally honest response to what you're seeing, and think a little bit about whatever kind of emotion or action you're trying to convey before you put your pen down. And also go with the flow.
Yeah.
Like whatever kind of feels good to go with. And don't be afraid to break stuff. If you don't be afraid to mess up, that's the other important thing. Don't be afraid
Yeah,
to
and
don't be afraid to like mess up. It might like something that you thought you could pull off the exaggeration of winds up just like looking badly measured and not very interesting to look at and or something. Like sometimes you'll run into this weird pattern where like you try to do like an exaggerated storytelling drawing or something, and it just does not work. It just isn't like there's not any sense of rhythm to it. It feels a little confused. It feels really confused and stuff. But then like the second or third drawing you do after that, or even sometimes the next drawing you do right after that, like you do start hitting the rhythm of what you were trying to go for with that drawing. So
yeah, okay.
So another thing is that we covered exaggeration this week. I'll show some examples of like how I've been trying to approach exaggeration. Maybe we can get.
Yeah.
The other thing about exaggeration is it's kind of like you have to get into the right kind of artistic rhythm for it. But exaggeration takes on a lot of different forms. It is usually like pushing the feeling of the action beyond what it is, or altering it in some way, or altering it or modifying it in some way. Sometimes changing it entirely. Or you can add a little bit of story to it, and that also counts as exaggeration. Like exaggeration is one of those things that's very intuitive. Like you kind of have to really play with it and see what happens. There are strategies for it. Like in order to like make exaggeration breed, you have to have contrast. Like you have to have parts that are more stretched and parts that are less active. Because if everything is crazy, then it just flattens everything out. Like there's kind of this rhythm. There's kind of this rhythm to good exaggeration.
Especially in the gastronomius, like that.
Yeah. Anyway, some of what's going into what I'm doing is like there's a little bit more volume than I've been drawing this week with. So like this is more like kind of line of action-y stuff, but this one has more volume in it. This one's closer to what I was kind of trying to do over the last couple days. Like looking at Trad Moore's stuff and looking at Bern Hogarth stuff helped me inject more volume into things. So I don't know if I have a huge amount of time to do this pose, but I'm just gonna do like a quick kind of line of action study. That's the other thing, like if you don't have much time, you have tools available to you to try to capture something. And one of those tools is line of action. I guess I'm just gonna do like a little fun thing here. Okay, Google, stop. I'm gonna pause it on this because I have an idea that I want to run with. I like the way this guy's kind of like ragdolling a bit. Looks kind of like Bruce Lee is like kicking a living doll, almost. Okay, Google, set timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Starting now.
So we're going to be on a little break.
Yeah, after you're done with your drawings, I'm the guy who talked about exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
So I just posted a photo in the classroom chat. If you can have a look of what I'm doing, because I'm doing traditionally with the pentel brush, and to show you what kind of drawing, so you can have some context behind my question.
Sure. So you drew this little ferret, I think, right? Or is it an otter?
Yeah, it was another.
Was this using one of the poses that was on here?
Yeah, and classroom chat.
So this is something I want to bring up. What you did here, this is not an example of what exaggeration, but it is linked to it. However, this is what we're going to be covering next week, actually. This is a principle called extrapolation, where you take what's happening in a pose and extrapolate it into a figure or character that's often very different from what you're seeing. For example, a four-legged animal. Like, how would you adapt like a four-legged animal's attitude, or a cartoon or a realistic four-legged animal's attitude to like the human pose or the human acting that you're seeing on screen and stuff.
Okay.
So I think yeah, keep going with this. I mean, just go with whatever is giving you good results and stuff, honestly. But this is I just want to so like this extrapolation approach, we're going to be talking about it next week. So this is actually pretty good timing. But yeah. Let's see here, Raboots. Yeah. Raboots, make sure that you're getting your ground planes in when you can too. I like that you're pushing your line, you're trying to bring things back to your line of action. But so now I think the next step is to pay close attention to where the feet are planted and make it really kind of feel like the feet are planting a three-dimensional space a little bit more solidly. And also take more detail out. Like keep them really simple. Continue to keep them really simple. Pay special close attention for making the poses feel pretty balanced, or feel like they're moving with the right kinetic energy or something. Like for example, like this leg back here looks really kind of awkward, probably because you ran near the edge of the page. But then like this pose right here, so this leg's a little long, but that's not really bothering me too much. Like you can just scoot the foot back or something, and you can also say this is exaggerated. But overall, this pose, for the most part, feels like it feels like the character is standing there with some weight, and he's got some inertia from the kick stuff. But then like this for example, you're kind of really non-committal about where you're placing your feet in 3D. So it makes everything get really confused down here.
Yeah, that yoga pose in general is just very kind of confusing to decipher where the
I
actual hip is placed.
So I think the next step, in addition to continuing to simplify things even further than this, like I would want you to maybe avoid kind of complicated shapes for now and keep it just to the simple kind of wireframey stuff. Either wireframey, or you can use like two curved lines, kind of like that. I want you to keep it simple, and I want you to really concentrate on placing the feet in a way that kind of makes spatial sense. And I also want you to pay very close attention to weight, inertia, and balance. Like I want you to try to cultivate your sense that you are playing with the physical forces that like cause this figure to move. Like have you ever seen like 3D animation when like that's done with like really low poly, where it's kind of unreal how like really well done hand done 3D animation, where like these kind of rough, loose polygons sort of feel like they have the weight and the weight and the substance of the action. That's kind of what you want to go for with just like these 2D wireframes kind of thing. Like that's what I aim for when I do these. I don't always pull it off, but the point is to aim for it. But anyway.
In general, is it better to set that ground plane first before you try to put the line of action in?
It depends. Depends on what your strategy is. Okay, Google, stop. If you have trouble, like figuring out where to place the foot, then usually it's a good idea to put the ground plane in first, or some kind of indicator of the ground, or you need to use some kind of strategy to correlate the feet there. What also might help is if you do some drawovers on some images, some photo images, where you kind of map in the ground plane and map in the feet. You want a sense that the feet are. You want the sense that it feels like the feet are grounded in space somehow, even if it's like really simple, or that like we're drawing. These things are not 2D shapes. These are like gesture drawings moving in 3D space is what we're trying to go for, and we need to like cultivate and exercise that part of our brains doing these. It's going to take time. It takes time. Like you're making good progress, and I see you making more progress every time in here. Yeah, just keep pushing for it. Let's see. Yeah, feel free to post like anything in chat here. Alex Wu was in my first online art course back in 2017. Definitely influenced me with not erasing stuff's reliant. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Alex Wu is Alex Wu is who we're referencing for this stuff. That's what the next lesson is that we're going with. Oh, here we go. Snappy posting some pretty good stuff. These are kind of loose and gesturally and stuff. Very, very light touch and stuff. I like these, but I think I want to see you be more bold, you know? I want to see you really, really... What I mean with bold, let's look at some boldness of taking risks and stuff. Like, look at these. These are invented poses, but let's maybe see if we can try to push things in some kind of a crazy direction like this. Like, some of these are like really breaking stuff all over the place, but they're really fun. Let's see. I got some other examples from... Oh yeah, this is from last night. Yeah, look at these. See, I think I started to like kind of tighten up towards the end of the evening. And this is something I did after class. Let's see if I can find some good examples somewhere here. Here's a little bit of it's not working the best, but this is like some wonky exaggeration of me kind of combining a little bit of what I was vibing with Tradmore. Yeah, wow, yeah. Yeah, try to be more bold with stuff. I need to push my boldness too. Like how confidently I commit to the statement I'm trying to make. That's what I mean. Or how confidently you push beyond what you're doing. Let me see if I can find some other examples. Like, 'cause there's some pretty good examples in some of this sketching I did from a couple days ago. Yeah, here's some good examples here. Just like being really bold with the design here. Let me find it. This one's really crazy. And this one could be still used. I work out a few more things on it and stuff, but this would be like a really heavy cartoon exaggeration. This is like almost like this is kind of like a style guide exploration almost for my characters. Like this is when stuff kind of like starts to get into the realm of graffiti art exaggeration. Yeah, you can see like this figure with this very tiny head, very long exaggerated body and stuff, very curve driven. This character right here. So like this is like really pushing things to extreme, warping the face, warping the limbs, having this bending perspective here. And look at that, I used like the jump rope technique of correlating those limbs, even though like this one's going way off in this exaggerated false perspective back there. And I had to use like a curve over here to like kind of map out the curve of the fingers and the palm and stuff. And then there's like, so this one's really flat in 2D, even though it's kind of like a fun little shape. But This one right here is like almost kind of in a wild animation smear, which really plays with some of the principles of exaggeration stuff. There's some other examples on this page too. Here's another one right here. Like, you can make decisions like this. It's like, okay, I'm going to try drawing the figure with a tiny head. Okay, I'm going to draw the character with very small limbs and very heavily emphasized legs or something. Or you make a decision and you commit to it and try it out. And you want to try stuff and go with things that that like push you. Push you. Yeah, you want to go with things that push you in a direction of like some kind of emotional honesty about how you're feeling, because you really want to be grooving when you're in the right frame of mind doing these things. Okay, so we're going to start another figure drawing set. Let's see here, but first off, let's go through some Tradmore stuff. I'm probably not going to use this one as the first. Yeah, we'll use this. Yeah, I'll put on some other Tradmore stuff here, some kind of inspirational muse image. How wild this is. Look at the legs on that character back there. Look at Silver Surfer twisting his body like that. There's going to be some Bernd Hogarth stuff in the mix here as well. Like, there's some already I see in there. When those come up, those are an excuse to basically do a study of Bernd Hogarth stuff. So we will start any figure drawing set right now. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes 30 seconds. Let me just check this real quick. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes, 30 seconds.
20 minutes and 30 seconds. And that's starting now.
One thing you can do to, like, if you're having trouble with both, because it's like kind of hard, like when you get the figure on screen, sometimes you want to play really delicate and play it safe because you're scared of breaking it, you know? If you're struggling with that, I would suggest maybe trying something like this, like oops, hang on. For the next set, after these next set of 2s, we're gonna go into some 5s and maybe some 10s later. And I want us to really spend a lot of time really trying to push stuff and like deeply exaggerate things and play with things more, so that we cultivate a more of a kind of a bolder, braver approach to distorting things. Because it takes some adjustment to get into it, and you kind of have to slow down with it and vibe with it a bit. I am really not pulling this off, so I'm going to actually do that right now. I'm playing because I'm playing so timid with this pose, for example. I'm not quite capturing it, and I don't like it. So I'm making the conscious decision to just draw sloppy and dirty. I'm bringing this out as if I'm bringing out like a big thick Sharpie marker, big thick Sharpie pen. I'm going to get messy instead of precious this pose, because I know that is going to awaken my ability to distort and exaggerate, and also like not get so precious with the drawing, so that I can go back in maybe just loop in some shapes real quick, kind of vibe with this pose a bit. Like, you have to face your fears doing these. Like, you have to kind of not be afraid to kind of break or get stuff wrong. Another big thing is that, and this builds on the other stuff we've been doing this week, is try to picture like some kind of invisible vanishing point that all your lines are curving towards. Like that, basically. So we got Bruce Lee here. How can I play with him to make him really fun and exaggerated? Well, I have a strong reaction to that. His nunchucks on his head and his hand really coming forward here. I'm going to really rough that in and not really care about making it sloppy or not. It's all about just like recording my quick gestural impression on it. I'm gonna really shrink his other leg back there to play with it. The name of the game is kind of like loosening up. So lower opacity on that. Let's see what some stuff I got wrong that I could true up a bit. Let's try this. So sometimes like your initial gesture is like, you use that as a guide for like what you got right and what you got wrong. Like you don't become a slave to your initial gesture. You kind of use that to like get your first impression of the pose out of your system. And then you can do another draw over on it or a side-by-side drawing. And break things down a little bit more. Here we got some Burn Hogarth poses. But you can see like when you get a Burn Hogarth pose right next to Trad Moore, the Burn Hogarth figure next to Trad Moore, you can really see like the connection that I was talking about. Another thing I probably could have cited and added to this, like mind you, like the way I'm doing my classes now is we just build on what we're doing continuously with each of the classes. So next Monday class will be like we'll build on what we did here. And so some of what we might do for Monday really depends on what I think would be the most effective thing to bounce into. But some of what we might do for Monday is there's going to be is Mike Mattisi's Force. I'll see if I can touch on some of it today. But also the Glen Keane and Disney Tarzan stuff, which is also very, very interconnected to Burn Hogarth. They heavily reference Burn Hogarth for a lot of that. Mike Mattisi, I don't know if he was trained by Hogarth, but he was trained by he was one of the animators on Tarzan. So I'm just doing a figure invention detour right now, but it's not really an invention. It's actually like using some of the things that I'm seeing on screen here to construct my own thing. Because I kind of feel like if I get too slavish to what I'm seeing sometimes, it's going to lock me up and like I'll be like getting too nervous about trying to copy what's there rather than trying to exercise my ability to construct stuff myself. So like I took some of, like if you notice, that was like kind of a mixture of like little bits of the Burn Hogarth thing and this pose that Silver Surfer's up there. Silver Surfer's up there and taking on. So by that same token, I'm like looking at the pose up above. I'm also thinking about some things, and I'm looking at the pose down below, thinking about ideas that are in the pose that aren't necessarily in the pose that I'm drawing right here. So I've drawn this pose that's on screen before, and I kind of want to use it to sort of riff and create my own. This is another example of the principle of exaggeration. You can create an entirely new pose that has some of the spirit in it of the pose that's on screen, or some aspects of the pose that's on screen, even though it's not the same pose. So in this case, I incorporated what his arms are doing there in a very different pose. But I also incorporated like a little bit of how his feet are correlating to each other, even though they're spread out from this side. And he's standing on the ground in this one instead of flying through the air. But this is great because then this gives you the freedom to, when you get reference, you can start creating your own figure puppets. And you're creating and inventing your own poses and stuff. You're not a slave to what you're seeing. And this is an essential tool for both an animator and a story artist and comic artist or illustrator, even fine artist, any profession really that involves the figure. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the... Oh, there's a head drawing right there. Well, yeah, let's do a head drawing. I'm game. Do a head drawing of Bruce Lee. We might not exaggerate it, but this is a good time to maybe kind of reorient ourselves. A little bit, touch base with head drawing slightly. This is not quite the same angle that his head is at. Maybe I'll tilt it a bit. Maybe a little bit beyond what he's doing. Just a bit. So I'm gonna pay close attention to wrapping lines of the form. I'm gonna use this kind of like this triangulation device that you've been seeing me draw a lot on these faces, like there, for example. There's a little triangulation of like creating the cheeks and stuff. There's the eye line right there. It's usually the eye line that I do there. So like the eye line would be going like somewhere around the ear, but there's also a brow line that goes like, yeah, the brow line goes there and the brow line goes like this right here. So that is right. That's the eye line right there. The brown line would be another line that goes up right there with another shape. So this is a slightly different angle of the head that Bruce is angled at. But I'll try to get like maybe a little bit of a quick lay-in the time that I have left of his head. Try to get some of his hair shape in. I'm not going to be too worried about getting in the features. I just want kind of like the general sort of construction of his head. Yeah, a bit of his chin. He is extremely, was one extremely good-looking dude. Very chiseled, leading man features for sure. I deign to imagine a world where he was not robbed from us early. What he might have gone on to be doing, like he might be still around today. Probably still in really great shape. So like, let's use this guy as an example of like what you can do with exaggeration. So like, okay, that guy's bending his spine, twisting his spine up to draw power up to a kick. That bag. Let's like bow his leg maybe. Let's really kind of push that twist of the body. So in the back of my head, I'm actually thinking of Baki the Grappler now. And that would be also somebody to look at. Maybe I could put that in. Maybe I could put Baki the Grappler art into rotation for Monday. That might be not a bad idea. So that series, like the anatomy is not exactly realistic, I would say, but the dynamics of it are kind of very much like very Burn Hogarth adjacent, I would say. But here we go. This is some exaggeration right here. Like, and this is a perfect example of like exaggeration, like just taking an action and pushing it beyond what's happening a bit. Like he's really, really smacking that bag instead. Maybe it's like even ripping off the hinges. Right here. Bursting out back. Which happens a lot in Baki. So many burst punching bags. Or kickboxing bags. Very lovely pose by Bruce right there. And see, remember, because we did the little triangulation tool on Bruce's face, we have like almost like a little figure model right here to memorize Bruce's general face. This is like something a comic artist or an animator would use to kind of rough in character models. When we do foreshortening, how do we keep the aesthetic? Well, you don't usually. I mean, well, it depends, like, the volumes. The volumes in your foreshortening is one of the important things to keep. When you're foreshortening, you want to be aiming to get the foreshortening on model with volumes. Like, it can be as rough as you need it to be when you're roughing something and you're trying to solve a drawing problem, but you want to shape it in the direction of being on model with the volumes of the character. Like the volumetric space that the character occupies. Might be good if I showed an example of some of that from some rough animation. So one of the many things that Tradd Moore does that I really like, and it's also very kind of Bern Hogarth-y, is like what he does with Bern Hogarth-y and Mike Matisse-ish. It's like the way he handles legs in his more psychedelic recent work. Like, look at that, even that leg there, like these legs here. There's this kind of like loopy gestural approach to legs that gets kind of really wild. This is not a Bern Hogarth. Well, we'll change it to something else. Here, let me find something suitable. Sorry, folks. Yeah, that's a good one. That one actually shows off a little bit of the leg stuff I'm talking about. But you can see, like in Tradd Moore's thing right there, of like these legs that are very kind of, they kind of turned into kind of amorphous volumetric gesture, and they're sort of based off rhythms of Bern Hogarth, and this is not unlike stuff I've seen in like Mike Matisse's Force, but they still correlate to each other. Like you can draw like a bendy jump rope in perspective line going to a vanishing point across his knees and across like his calf muscles right there. Like you can do that here, like what I'm doing here. It's like I'm drawing correlating lines between the calves here. Like this leg is going at a slightly different angle than this one. Like if the legs, I'm picturing it like the knees are kind of like that and the legs are doing that a bit. Or we're looking at, and maybe this thigh is down further a little bit. Then I can add some circles over it a little bit to kind of describe it volumetrically a bit more. But it's sort of like a simplified volumetric approach to doing the legs. I mean, there's still like bits and pieces of anatomy in it, but it's a really playful approach that's rooted in like Bern Hogarth's anatomy. So I would recommend picking up as many copies of Bern Hogarth. Well, start with like his dynamic sketching book or dynamic figure drawing or whatever book, and then there's like a bunch of other books that he's got. There's one on head drawing that's pretty good. The one that's definitely, well, aside from the figure drawing one, the one that's definitely a huge must-have is his drawing dynamic hands. Like Bern Hogarth has some of the best hand drawing reference slash study fodder when it comes to hands of anyone. So I'm taking a little. Well, that's not as good. That's not a good figure. Skip that. Let's go to there. Sorry about that. I sort of used the whole Tradd Moore file without really paying mind to which ones in there would be like worth doing study fodder drawings of. A few of them will be, but I'm kind of thinking that we'll have Tradd Moore on screen as a spirit animal, but I might wind up just skipping him when he comes up in the gesture poses. And then I'll just like, because we'll just have him up in the corner to kind of vibe with a bit. So whether you want to call it muse or whatever, I want people here to kind of try to find whatever their artistic spirit animal of the moment is, and utilize that. Mine right now is Trad Moore, and you can use him too if you like. But I want you guys to keep searching and exploring. Like we're not really assigning homework anymore in this class, at least for now. We will when we get back into animation stuff. And we will be getting back into animation stuff. If not next week, then probably the week after. But if anything for homework this week, I want people to find their artistic spirit animal, so to speak. And it can be more than one, mind you. Just whoever you're responding to well that seems like somebody who would be good for you to vibe with at your point in development. Try to find what artist and what figure drawing instruction things that are really correlated to what they're doing. Like in my case, I figured, this is rooted in Bern Hogarth. The Trad Moore stuff is rooted in Bern Hogarth, and also Mike Matisse Forrest for that matter. So I want you guys to find your artistic spirit animals this week. Be like water. So that's my artistic spirit animal, but my muse right now is Bruce Lee. I mean, the muse is usually somebody who traditionally the muse is in as far as art goes, that the muse is often somebody who the artist uses as a figure model a lot. Okay, Google, stop. And the muse is a collaborator because the muse becomes like an actor in for the artist's work to springboard it into excellence. So yeah, strategies to make yourself feel bolder about doing stuff. So these are kind of whispery and sketchy and stuff, and I think that I need to experiment with some other materials that let me be a little bit more bolder. But again, here is a strategy to play bolder. You got these rough loose sketches. Maybe during the break. Okay, Google, set timer for 7 minutes.
7 minutes, and that's starting now.
Maybe during the break you make another layer. Get a thicker line maybe. Go in, differentiate stuff. Divide things up, add some additional details. I would look for areas in the poses to kind of differentiate overlap, or stuff that's coming closer to you. Like stuff that's coming closer to you, maybe make that darker. Although not always that's the case. Like sometimes stuff that's going away, you shade it, darken it when it goes away. Just go whatever rules of differentiating those shapes. So doing this to kind of separate the planes a bit, keeping that thick because that's really coming towards us, and this is going back away from us in space, so like this. Let's overlap maybe that over the thigh a bit, over the calf muscle a bit. Stuff like this is how you get started when you're trying to develop a drawing for a comic or something too. In a lot of cases. Maybe he's like really flexing that tricep there. Got the trapezius in there. Some sloppy anatomy inserted in there. Yeah, like you can go during the break and like experiment with some of the stuff. Like try seeing what happens if you darken in, if you do simple things like darkening in the underside of stuff. You look for areas to like stress more confidence. Like for example, I added a nose and a mouth here to make it a little bit more clear that his head is kind of at a weird angle, weird twisty angle. His eyes there, like his eye line is like right here. That's his nose. Because that makes it a little bit more dynamic for me. Make his chin down there. You want to get used to kind of playing with building this stuff up. Because like even if you start with like a really kind of lacking in confidence initial pose, you can go back in and add more definition to it. I'm not touching. I could do more stuff with Bruce, but I really like how that one turned out, so I'm not touching that. Let's see, what are some other opportunities? Okay, well here's one, for example. I can start this little underside to differentiate stuff and make stuff pop a little bit more. Add a little bit of the knee there. A little bit of indication of the knee anatomy. You start playing with stuff that you've studied also, like, because I've studied anatomy, so I'm able to insert some of this stuff in there, but I just want you to kind of like play with this stuff and like see how you can like push definition in what you're looking at. You might even go back in and you might even like you might take a pose like this, for example. You might like do another draw where you really push it like that or something. I don't know. Where you like really exaggerate it. Or you might try redrawing the pose more exaggerated during the break. This also builds confidence too, because it's like, oh, I'm a better draftsman. I'm actually a better draftsman than I realized. I've just not got the confidence there yet for my initial drawing. Like, so like my drawings like over time are going to start looking quite a bit different, because I've seen the arc of how people progress in this stuff, and for people who are way ahead of me. So over time, like, you're probably going to see fewer lines. I'm still going to be utilizing like productive sketching and stuff, but I'm going to be like a lot wiser in my decision making, even from the initial sketch in the future. That'll just come from experience of doing this. I'm kind of playing with like some muscle groups there a bit. If you do this kind of stuff too, you can like start getting a sense of how to when to do it as kind of a reflexive shorthand too during the actual poses as well. I add like a little kind of quick expression right here. Maybe some hair. Yeah, the other good thing about this is this makes these pages read a lot better too. When you get done with a page like this, going back in and like adding a little bit to it is often a really good idea like this. And it also lets you like kind of think about the pose a little bit more, you know, kind of an overtime. Think about Bruce, the energy of Bruce's kick there, coming up from his hips and his leg. Let's maybe make that a little darker there. Okay, Google, stop.
I tried to make better use of the ground planes like you were saying. I'm not 100% sure if I succeeded.
Another thing that'll help is if you start doing the draw box stuff and start drawing. You need to increase your spatial awareness. Because like if you don't have if your spatial awareness isn't coming through for you, then it's going to be really, you're going to have a bad time trying to place feet, much less anything else in 3D. So it might be a good idea to do like a detour with some like box form exercises or whatever. Some of this is like, I feel like there's a lot, like the gesture drawing classes of the Alex Wu thing are really helpful and stuff, but I think there's going to be inherently a lot of missing stairs for some people. Like the stuff I do here, this is like a good, for people who have never taken a figure drawing class in their lives, this was a good way to kind of dip your toes into what to expect going into one, but the best step for anyone to improve, I think, would be to enroll in a worthwhile figure drawing class being taught by a really good instructor that is meeting you at your current level. And thankfully there's quite a lot of them. And we may actually talk a little bit about some of those a little bit later. So anyway, we're technically supposed to be back from the break now. But yeah, let's look at this, like the stuff I was able to play with. It's really fun. And I'm gonna get more bold with doing this. Like, I would encourage people to do what I just did there. After you get done with a page, going back in and like, you know, darkening up some areas, differentiating some things, picking some things out, adding some little bit of shadow, indication of shadow, inserting bits of anatomy if you want to exercise a little bit of anatomy, adding some more volume definition to the volumes. Like this is, look at the difference that doing that did. Oops, wrong thing. So where's the, yeah, there it is. Look at the difference here. Before, these are all kind of whispery. After, that is a noticeable difference right there, especially like on that one, for example. But yeah. So we're going to start another figure drawing set, another 20-minute set. This one, we might stick with 2 minutes, but I'm thinking we might go to 5s because that'll give us more time to really meditate. But I might shift to different images during the sets of 5s. So let me pick a good one to start with here, because if we do a 5-minute pose, we want to commit to it. Here's a good one for 5 minutes. That's a lovely dynamic pose of Bruce Lee right there. So. Oh, the guy just casually like, yeah, he sure is jump kicking. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes, 30 seconds.
20 minutes and 30 seconds. Starting now.
Yes. So I wanted to do Magma Studio today, but I think we're gonna hold off on that today. But I think I want to start using Magma Studio again offline. So and what time is it? Okay, we actually may end the class at 5 p.m. tonight, and the reason for that is there is a drink and draw with some cartoonists and animators that I'm gonna go to at 5 p.m. So we'll probably end it right. Well, I'll probably end things right there. But just so you guys know, tomorrow Sunday, let's meet up again in my Discord, and let's fuck around in Magma Studio some. Because I want to start using that tool again. That was a really, really good tool for artistic study thing. I want to maybe kind of play with it some more tomorrow, and also experiment with a couple ideas I have of of using it as a study tool. we've done some of that this last week, but so everyone who's here, please don't be ready tomorrow in my Discord. I'm basically going to be doing a stress test in Magma Studio, so we can do like online collab drawing space as a class teaching tool, which is what Magma Studio is actually partly designed for, by the way. It was designed to be a collab tool for professionals and educators, both. Like a higher end version of those drawing together type things. And I'm in the paid version of the app because of people who donated to my stream. And I got to utilize that thing a little more. I meant to this week, but I kind of got wrapped up in vibing with like all the Buzz stuff we've been vibing with tonight. So let's kind of bloody our noses a bit tomorrow in utilizing Magma Studio as a study tool. As a study tool, and also just kind of, it's fun to just mess around and maybe do some art games in it and stuff. Yeah, art games. We haven't done that. We haven't done that in a while. We should do some Jackbox games tomorrow or something too. That might be fun. And thank you, Lakes Laughing, for the subscribe, the sub, the Prime sub. Yeah, if you guys want to support the stream, so that I can get more bells and whistles and goodies. Bruce Lee's thigh is desperately broken right now. What I'm doing to get more of his hip, I have to establish his hips a little bit more before I can really kind of fix the issues with his thigh here. I think that leg can be further exaggerated out a bit more. I was kind of autopiloting there, but I think there's like some more stuff I can do here to kind of exaggerate. So one technique for exaggerating is multiple image ghosting like this. Let's say you got a pose and I want to go beyond what I did. Well, but like it's just gonna kind of that's a drag. It's gonna mess up the image when I do it. Well, why not play with exaggeration in ways that kind of make it look like part of the design, part of the sketch, part of the design. One of those ways, there's a lot of different strategies for this, is using multiple images like that. See? So I made his leg a little short, but by doing like multiple images there, I've kind of ghosted things and added an opportunity to add some additional things to the drawing. Like maybe I indicate where his head was a little bit back here, fourth dimensionally, and then that plays into me kind of doing this sort of curve line right here, the curvy rhythm line, sort of playing off the power of his body a bit. There we go. And look at that. Since we got Tradmore up there, I'm going to throw like some little kind of... He's got like planets and cosmic planets and stuff in the background. I'm going to make this like a cosmic Bruce Lee kick now. Just throw in some like psychedelic masses of curvilinear forms here. And volumes. Like Bruce Lee making a cosmic kick in time and space almost. So this is a really fun pose here. This pose is an excellent opportunity to exaggerate. So that drawing of the fawn I showed, there's a little bit of the exaggeration principle at work in that, but that one was mainly extrapolation, a little bit of story, but not really. Like, story would be kind of like pushing more what the pose is saying, what the pose is communicating, and which is also linked to exaggeration, and often like creating like actual story scenes. Like when they say push the story of the pose, they mean one of two things. They mean the pose, the action the pose itself is performing. What is the before and after of the pose? How does the model feel? I mean, how does the figure that you're drawing feel and think and feel? What is the physicality of the action that's happening? You're telling a story like on the paper, and you want to tell an interesting story, but what's visually happening a little bit. The other is communicating a story that's like an actual, like, you know, almost like a storyboard panel or something, that's communicating a story like this character, I could draw a monster, I could like sketch a monster next to them that they're fighting, or a martial arts opponent or something. Or, you know, one of the easiest ways I can do it, I can make them into like a mage or a fire airbender or something. So now I've got a story, a really kind of simple story to go with. So that's story. That's not exaggeration, that's story. But exaggeration is related to story. Some of this also gets a little bit, dips its toes a bit into character design too. It's fun. You can do some like discovery for creating and inventing character designs out of figure drawing classes, doing this kind of stuff, which is what I did with that fawn and a few other characters. I haven't really completely decided what material this is yet. This is kind of an amorphous mass of some elemental energy. This might be good enough, honestly. It could be just like generic mystical force. Just add more volume to the legs. But yeah, you want to have fun doing these. And look at that. There's a image that's a fourth dimensional image, basically. That figure's moving through time and space in a single image. I don't know if I'll necessarily draw it. I'll draw a little bit of it. But I kind of want to maybe detour slightly. It's just a question of how I detour. I do like the contrast between this pose and that pose, though, so maybe I'll get a little bit of that in. So like, and that's wild. I'd like to see like what the in between is that happen between this pose and that pose, but let's get like that kind of curved body missile sort of. It's actually an S curve now that I look at it. It's kind of doing like that at the end. The line of action on the body there. Arm going away from us there, and the body twist. So jumping, twisting, dive. Now that I think about it, I think looking at some dives would actually be really good. Action study reference. slow-mo recording of Olympic dives or whatever. This one was like for some kind of Red Bull sponsored event. If you're looking for something to get like inspired by, to like create some cool dynamic superhero poses, action thriller scenes, or like spy movies or something, you know, or thrilling moments of like figures moving unbelievably through time and space, I'd say that looking at divers would be a great thing to do, especially like those cliff divers that you see, like those extreme camera angles of them like off the cliff. Often like you get kind of like an extreme camera angle looking above them where they're pretty close to the camera, and then they jump off, and then you like see the cameraman kind of wanders over to the edge, looking down over the cliff, and you see them like really shrink all the way down to the bottom. But you can kind of like see the warp cylinder of time and space all the way going all the way down there to the water. That's the cliff right here. Let's differentiate that. I'm just sort of deviating into this little action study. Really, really shrinking down there, like. Really tiny. You want to even push the camera even further over the edge there, I would say. Like this. That's really far down there. This is just like from my visual memory of having looked at like cliff divers and stuff. Like the next step for me after like kind of meditating on that idea is to like actually look at some cliff divers, probably. Maybe we'll do that. During the next 5-minute break. Get this kind of volume of the cliff down there. Yeah. Fun little thumbnail sketch. Okay, so get this guy in here. So for this pose, you can definitely see a ground plane right there. And I gotta kind of get back in gear here. Although, like, I was satisfied with these two poses here, so I'm not really worried about pushing things too much. I'm doing a little kind of like, I did that kind of like deviating vignette study. It's like, yeah, I got those. I'm good for this set, I think.
In your opinion, what makes a great storyboard for you? Is that clarity or gesture or, I don't know, composition?
Entertainment. If it's telling a good story.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like the boards can have like not the best drawn panels, but if it's telling a really good story, that kind of overrides things sometimes. I mean, like if it's for TV boards, you kind of want to work out the technicals because it has to be shipped to it has to be shipped over to like out wherever it's gonna be animated, whatever part of the pipeline is gonna animate it. So often it has to be worked out and put on model, but good storyboard for me is a storyboard that tells a really good story.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are good there's storyboards that I would say are good storyboards that are done with like crappy stick figures by people who don't know how to draw.
Yeah, I've seen those, especially in the filmmaking side.
Yeah, you'll see like I don't know, like Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese's like crummy little storyboards, or Sam Raimi's storyboards for like Evil Dead 2 are kind of notorious. And there's little bits of it that they show that I don't think there's I don't think they have any of them saved, but they tried to like replicate what he did for some of the shots, and it is literally like crummy little stick figures.
Oh, really?
I mean, the purpose of a storyboard is it's a function. It's a storyboard is a way to solve problems for filmmaking or games, actually. Like there's like beats in video games that get worked out in storyboards. Like you'll see, I'm not just talking about cinematics. I'm talking about like they actually make storyboards for like what happens to the player at certain events in the game. It's kind of like summarizing like the beats of what happens and so on. So it's not like staged specifically from the camera angle it's going to be happening at. It just sort of gives a smattering of the pacing of the mood. Can we use Magma Studio if that's okay with you? Okay, fine. All right. If you really want to mess with Magma Studio, I'll bring it up. Okay, Google, how much time left on timer?
There's 1 minute and 42 seconds to go.
I should really just be making like a free draw area. So let's say free set. Wait, hang on a second here. Let me put in a 2, 13, 20, 21 free draw funds. Okay, there we go. So 496. Doing that real quick here. Sorry, let's move this. 4096. There we go. Got an invite link here. I will post that in the classroom chat now. There we go, and you can come in and you can draw on there. In fact, I might join you for this. This will be a good way to me kind of get more, I've done like mostly what I want to do on this drawing page for today, so maybe I can join you for the last couple sets in Magma Studio. Oh, there's Batman. There's Namtab. Batman. So let's maybe try messing with him a bit. So I posted the Magma Studio link in chat. You can come in and join and draw if you like. You see how Tradmore uses like rhythm and gesture and everything, and it becomes design and part of the composition. Okay, Google, stop. But you can see like he anchors stuff in like elements of figure drawing. Like Batman's head and like his kneecap are like more kind of hard shapes. Okay, Google, set timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, and we're starting now.
So we're technically on break right now, but you can feel free to do a little study of bats here. Look at the wild way he handles the deltoids. I'm starting to like learn a little bit more about the trapezius and the deltoids from and how they change and stuff from like looking at trads and other comic artists. Sometimes like stuff in anatomy starts when you're looking at good draftsmen, it starts to click if you're like looking at good draftsmen who know how to exaggerate anatomy. Like it sticks out in your head more.
Even for animals?
Yeah. Exaggeration. You inherently have to do exaggeration for animals, because like especially if you're doing like life drawing of animals, because the animals don't sit still. In most cases, you kind of have to get like a gestural impression, unless you're doing from a photograph of what an animal is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And also animals have a lot of poses that aren't very extreme when they're in their normal state, and so you kind of have to infer stuff into them. But it really depends. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy, weird, remarkable things that animals do. Like I keep getting I'm constantly reminded of like. Are constantly delighted to find out, like, oh, that's where, that's interesting. Animals still have like rudimentary versions of the same kind of brain circuitry we do, so they behave in these surprising ways that I didn't really think that they would, or something. Like, I didn't know that like reptiles could actually show affection for their owners and stuff. Yeah, they really can. Yeah, like actual affection, like even like alligators and stuff. Like they're not just going for you for the warmth. They like being touched by their owners, and they like their owner. And they recognize their owner. And people have actually taught reptiles tricks and stuff too. It's pretty wild. They're a lot smarter than people think they are. Same with fish too. I didn't know how smart fish were.
What kind of fish?
Any fish, like even goldfish, are like a lot smarter than people think.
Yeah, but goldfishes are invasive. Like
Is what?
Goldfishes. They are invasive.
Yeah, invasive species. Yeah, they are. Because people flush them down the toilets and they wind up in riverbeds, and then they grow to giant size because they're like, when they're kept in captivity, that's not their normal size. They're supposed to get really big.
Yeah, even the deep sea fishes are so weird, like the bioluminescence and all the googly eyes.
A lot of like exotic fishes, by the way, are as smart as cats or dogs in some cases. Well, maybe not. Yeah, they're about as smart as cats or dogs, in how they behave. Like some parrotfish are like really intelligent. It's just fitting because they're named after parrots. And parrots are ridiculously smart.
Yeah.
And mice are basically just very tiny dogs.
Yeah, mice are extremely smart, and shrews, for that matter. These itty bitty, tiny animals with tiny physiology are incredibly smart. Makes me wonder a little bit more about insect and arachnid intelligence, which I need to look into more. So yeah, you see, these are not 2D. These are not flat 2D shapes that he's making here. These are stylized volumes that are occurring in 3D space and stuff. Of course, like in his Okay, Google, stop. So we'll come back from the break here, but you can see like here, I'm gonna copy paste this real quick, and because this is technically part of the drawing demo stuff I'm doing this evening, I'm gonna copy paste this into Did I post this into the classroom chat? Because I don't think anybody... Yeah, you just go here, and you can draw on the same drawing space I'm drawing on. So we'll start a new drawing set. I'm actually not gonna time our breaks right now. We're just gonna leave the timer running on 5-minute poses for the rest of the session, and I'm gonna be heading off at 5 p.m. to do a drink and draw. But let's maybe get some pose drawing in, and maybe I can do some Q&A stuff. If some of the people who have voice here could read some of the questions for me, that'd be really helpful. Why is it not letting me do that? Add layer. Okay, well. Magma Studio just decided not to work for me. Fucking. Okay, well.
Meanwhile, Magma Studio still hates XP pen drivers.
Yep. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, now it's responding. Just had to refresh browser.
Where can you what? Where can I enter the Discord server?
The Ethan. Are you on my personal Discord or are you on? Wait, no. You're on fucking Ethan Becker server. No, you're Well, if you're in the Twitch, there's a Twitch link. There's a link to my personal Discord. Here. You mean for the drink and draw?
Yeah.
That one's I don't know if they'd let me invite people. That one's like a invite only server or something. You know what? Let me ask them. At the end of the stream, let me ask them if I can give you guys the link to the server. Then we can get some more participants in the drink and draw or something. That might be fun. I'll ask them after this, like at the end of the stream, and then maybe people can jump in there.
What's your Twitch?
Huh? It's not gonna be on Twitch. Yeah, when I end the Twitch stream, I'll ask the folks who are running the drink and draw if I can give you guys the Discord link. I will post it to well, I'll figure out where I'm gonna post it, but I'll notify people about it in classroom chat. Wherever I do post it, like either I'll post it in classroom chat or I'll probably post it in my personal section in Ethan's Discord.
Thanks.
Yes.
I have one question. How do you not end up being tired of drawing figures? In general, even if you're switching over animals or environments or other subjects.
Well, you're looking at how I do that. I find some kind of juice that gets me excited and interested to draw. Like this week, it wasn't just Trad Moore, but I also was looking at Peter Chung, for like Aeon Flux work. I was looking at this guy. Let me bring him on screen real quick. I was looking at this guy from a really bonkers comic series called The Auteur, which is getting turned into an HBO Max series. Directed by the guy who directed Jojo Rabbit and Thor Ragnarok, by the way. And it's going to be really bonkers, ultra-violent, gory, bizarre series and stuff. And the art in The Auteur is really bizarre and warpy, so that gave me some more juice. Then, in addition to that, I also looked at Mobius. And Hodorowski and Mobius's work on The Inkle. In fact, I'm thinking this next week we're going to be in my offsite, in my personal Discord, we're going to be looking a lot more at both Hodorowski and Mobius, in addition to the other stuff that I'm planning on doing. Yeah, you see the way I'm drawing this figure right here. I wanted to get more into Mike Matisse tonight, but this is a very kind of Mike Matisse approach to the figure, where you kind of use like you use these kind of like this is Mike Matisse, but this is also a little bit of Glenn Villepeu in there too, of kind of using these like exterior rhythms to sort of ghost in the figure.
Steve's son too, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, if you know him.
And post him in chat. Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been drawing relentlessly lately, and that's good, because that's exactly the momentum I needed to hit. Like, well, actually, it's not about momentum, because momentum implies that like I've got to keep building and stressing out about building. No. This is about sustaining long-term habits, and just growing and building on top of what I'm doing in a sustainable way that will be something I can utilize like constantly and not get exhausted doing. And there's going to be times when I exert more effort to maybe like overcome a plateau or something. But man, I'm the only one in Magma Studio. You guys wanted me to bring up Magma Studio, nobody's using it. Come on, folks. Is the link not working for people or something?
Using it, I'm drawing traditional because I can't use my tablet right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And Magma Studio just really hates my drivers.
Oh, yeah. It sucks. It works, like I said, it works on iPad, actually. If you open it in the Chrome browser, it works actually remarkably quite well in on iPad and Chrome.
Let me give that a shot and see what happens.
Yeah, no, I was the reason why I started using it in the first place. I was like testing out what collaborative drawing apps I could just like chill in my bed and doodle on. When people like run these little drawing collab things.
Yeah, I just sent in a chat Steve's son.
Yeah, let's take a look.
You can look that up if you want to.
Oh, Steve, yeah. Yeah, you were kind of speaking a little small, so I didn't really hear it. But yeah, I've seen this guy's work before. There might be some kind of nudes in here. Yeah, there's nudes in there. It's okay, nothing too explicit, so I probably won't get boinked for any of that.
Come on, that's I don't get.
I know, but there's like a little bit of leeway that Twitch gives on like nudity, as long as it's like
Oh yeah, got it.
Because like
Yeah,
some games have nudity and stuff. Like as long as it's not like excessive or something, Twitch usually doesn't care.
Yeah, but they have e-girls for showing.
Yeah.
Not going.
Well, there's a lot of people playing Rust right now, and there's like quite a few like big Rust streamers right now that are playing in the uncensored mode, where you can see like the floppy donguses and the
Ding dong.
Yeah.
Yeah, ding.
The floppy donguses and the breasticles.
Okay, so I am using it on the iPad. The only thing that's going to drive me insane is I can't double tap to just erase, do an undo.
Oh, right. There is like a little undo back and forth at the top of the app, though.
No, I'm aware. It's just muscle memory. It's just like, why is this not working? I'm tapping the screen.
Oh, right. A Procreate or something? Or...
most of the drawing apps in general have all adapted the same gesture mechanics now.
Android and I mostly use Krita.
Oh yeah, we've only got 2 other participants in the Magma Studio. Get your butts in here. Here's the link. Click the link. Get your butts in here. Yeah, tomorrow. Let's be ready for it. We're going to be doing an inside my own personal Discord. big kind of a Magma Studio experimentation sort of thing to kind of like play with using it as a study app. Like I'm thinking we'll play some kind of like drawing learning video of some kind, and we can do vibing and sketching and taking notes and stuff in there. Somebody scribbling.
No, that's just me, because like
Yeah.
the iPad version for some odd reason just kind of zoomed in on the interface for no reason. I'm trying to get it to go back.
Oh. Gonna want to undo the... You got a little scribble on some... There we go. Goody.
What do you think about the experience, the relationship between traditional art and digital? Does it hinder your experience traditionally when you're getting used to too much to digital work?
I would want to talk to more high-level people than me on that. But,
Okay.
like their general take that I've heard is that, like, nothing replaces traditional yet. Nothing is better than traditional. But digital is good for the immediacy of like bringing it into a digital space to manipulate quickly. So if you're able to, like, you at least, if anything else, like a lot of artists that do a lot of almost exclusively digital drawing, a lot of them also keep traditional sketchbooks, or they attend figure drawing classes where they're drawing in traditional charcoal pens and stuff. Not all of them, but there's quite a few that do. And the value of doing that is like the hand-eye dexterity. The hand-eye dexterity of drawing traditionally. You aren't hindered by like the inherent limitations of digital, because you only have like a limited drawing space to work on in digital, and like that, and like you are kind of limited by like the current technology of the pens and stuff. It's not in that it's a digital input media. It's not a physical media where you're working with like applying some kind of physical ink or graphite to paper, so it doesn't have those physical qualities to it.
And there's no lag with the pens.
Yeah, there's also no lag. But I mean, if you have a good computer, you're not going to experience brush lag or anything.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about I'll have to do my transition over digital, but not yet, because I'm focusing on painting traditionally with watercolors and gouache. Because I really think that learning traditional first.
I think like doing ink brush pen and like traditional charcoal and traditional like tapered charcoal pencils, like that Watts Atelier does, and that there's a lot of tools in traditional that are designed to build up your dexterity that inherently have some limiting features to them when you're a student artist.
Yeah.
One of them is like the tried and tested tapered charcoal pencil, which mimics the feel of a paintbrush without having to spend a ridiculous amount of money on paint. You can just use like relatively inexpensive smooth newsprint. Other ones is like Sharpies and any kind of cheap paper. If it's a drawing class, usually some kind of large print, cheap newsprint or something.
They have ballpoint pens too.
Yeah, ballpoint pens are also good too. I mean, like you can honestly use, like, as long as like the materials aren't really fighting you, you can use just about anything to build up your traditional dexterity. And speaking of which, I just ran into one of the many limitations of digital just now. Magma Studio is doing that thing where it suddenly decides, oh, guess what? You're not. It's not. I don't want to register the brush anymore.
Yeah, mine was literally just doing it on the iPad.
Yeah, that's like seems to be a recurring bug. I'm gonna have to ask about that from the dev that's joined our Discord. But yeah, let's see here.
Does he know about the XP pen driver glitch?
You can ask him. You've seen him in the Discord. You can DM him. Ask about
What's
that.
his name on the Discord? I don't think
He's in the. He identifies himself in my personal Discord under the in the Magma Studio link section. Also, they're adding storyboards to storyboarding to this. Like I'm in the storyboard sequential thing beta for this, so I can create additional panels and stuff. You won't be able to see them unless I link them directly, or if you're in the beta also. Like here, like this thing's a good collab drawing tool for teaching. Like let's see, like Raboots, your like let me see if I can do like a little draw over real quick on yours to shit. Yeah, it's still not registering. Fuck it. I don't know what it is. Like it will like just randomly decide not to register for a bit, and then I have to reopen it a whole bunch before it finally does again.
I was originally thinking that it was maybe just like palm rejection going nuts on my iPad, but I guess not.
But it's like, there we go.
When you color in traditional, do you use the painting, marker, or pencil?
I don't really do traditional coloring. So anyway, let's see here. So my instinct on this is telling me the kick should be something more like this, because that's kind of like a, doesn't really feel like a realistic kick to me.
Yeah, I've just been subconsciously trying to avoid like sharp angles because I feel like I always screw that up whenever I try to do anything sharp.
Well, you want to exercise doing straights against curves. In this case, I'll show you what I'm doing with this. Like, it's actually like the positioning of that right there. So the head would actually be crunched down a little bit more for a pose like this, I think. So maybe the heel's coming off the ground a bit like that. But this is going up in where this is traveling in 3D space, up and inwards. So we get this kind of this leg probably came from back there. It was probably placed down around there where it came up. So let's see here. Oops. Oops. So that heel I drew, that foot I drew there, that was like a little bit of a shorthand guide point for my VP, for like my VP. I'm gonna say like the horizon line would probably be about really far down here or something. I'm not gonna be doing any kind of extreme upshot perspective. This is gonna be very kind of 1-point perspective. Ish. Kinda. But at the very least, like I get like the sense of some kind of ground plane there. Is that any indication of the calves there? But I'm like thinking like in these terms, like when the leg was about here, it was like probably bending like this and smearing, doing an animation smear, kind of move it like this. Like this. Maybe not that far forward. Like because the leg kind of extends out. So maybe it's like back over here or something. But you kind of get the idea. Like you want to think like three-dimensionally and fourth dimensionally about this stuff. And you want to try to place it in a way that makes sense. That feels like it makes good sense physically. Like I can kind of feel this feels a little bit more like this pose is reacting to the balance and weight than the one that you drew. That comes from observation and also engaging with your 3D spatial awareness and stuff. Like I'm thinking of stuff like this torso is going back and away to us, so it's like somewhere around here. Shoulder is like about here. Versus like this foot. It's a little bit. I think the toes would be a little bit more forward. But yeah.
I thought the balance of weight for most people was like right at the balls of the feet before you go over.
It usually is, but this is kind of an exaggerated, invented martial arts pose. So it's like this is not going to be exact weight, physically, but it feels a little bit more like it feels plausible. That's what you're going to be kind of like searching for. You're looking for plausibility with these poses. Let's get the leg planted back there, leg bent here.
Alright, thanks for the stream. Gotta go. Bye.
Maybe I'll add like a dude getting blasted up here.
Anyone know what the worst feeling in the world is right now? I thought I hit send on the delivery.com app, but I never did, so my ramen's not going to come here for another half hour now.
Let's see here, I was going to put, let's see. I was going to import this. That, and then I wanted to import this. This little demo I did. Sorry about the cover up on the screen. Need to screenshot this real quick. What time is it? It is 4:43. I'll cut the class off pretty soon. But this has been pretty fun. So we're gonna be meeting. This class did get a little bit more loosey-goosey towards the end because we started playing with Magma Studio a bit more. But this was a good session. And this built on stuff that we've been doing. So just keep at it, folks. I just want you guys to, if anything, here homework is just to keep practicing figure drawing throughout the week. Find your muse, find your artistic figure drawing muse, and other study. Find your muse and find your mentor. Like your muse and your mentor. My muse is Trad Moore up here. My mentor is, for this week, or for this for this thing is, of course, Vern Hogarth. Vern Hogarth's books and stuff. So I want you guys to find your artistic muse and find your artistic mentor, and try to play them against each other. Well, not against each other. Play them off each other. The mentor is somebody who does usually does tutorials and stuff and teaches. Like it could be someone like Steve Houston or Glenn Villepeu, somebody like that. Find somebody like, or Stan Prokopenko and Proko, or Modern Day James, or I want you to find somebody who this week who you really vibe with, that you can study with. You can even use the ones that I found. But I want you to go with that mentality. Who is your current main mentor that you're focusing on? Who is your current main muse that you're focusing on? And that can change. Like you might find you might find another muse in the same. You might find multiple muses in the same day to pull from. You might find multiple mentors to pull from in the same day. But give yourself the space and the ability to kind of make those decisions sometimes. Okay, I'm going to focus on this guy because I'm getting this out of this guy. Like I'm getting a lot out of George Bridgman. George Bridgman will be a mentor to pull from. Or actually, no, he might be, George Bridgman might be a mentor to pull from, or a muse, kind of. And try to see how you can combine like figure drawing knowledge and instruction stuff with someone who uses it to execute really interesting work that you're inspired by. And see if you can.
Those pictures from Tim Sale?
Huh?
Are those pictures, the one in the gesture drawings, are Tim Sale's art?
This? No, this is in the Discord.
No, the artist of the Silver Surfer drawing.
Oh, that's Trad Moore.
Oh.
Trad with 2 Ds, Moore. That's more of the stuff that's up there. So like those really kind of psychedelic wonky figures that he's doing, those are very, very heavily influenced by Vern Hogarth. Among other things. There's a few other things that are in those. For sure. Like I said, I want to dig more into this. I want to find out like from Trad Moore, like what figure artists he's and what artists he gets he really likes studying from, or how he likes to study. He like he said in that little interview that we just caught a snippet of, he really loves drawing the human figure, and I mean that definitely comes across in all of his art. I think he started drawing in like this kind of really kind of psychedelic way because like his previous angular style, I guess, might have started to kind of bore him. So he started like getting more like expressive and gestural instead of sharp and blade-like and angular. Kind of reminds me of like when that one guitarist from REM like got sick of the guitar, so he switched to mandolin. Oh yeah, I was able to include some of the Magna Studio drawings I did in here too. Goody. That'll be a part of the full file here, which is going to go up on my Patreon later. I'm gonna finally update this fucking thing. I'm backlogged like about like almost 2 weeks now. I've gotta update the hell out of my Patreon. So what time is it? It is 4:50. We'll kind of start winding down a little bit. I want to go over a few things before we skedaddle. So yeah, like I said, tomorrow in my personal Discord, we're going to be meeting for some Magma Studio stuff. Let me just change the POV in. There we go. Okay, let me just change the POV here. So tomorrow we're going to be meeting in my personal Discord to do some Magma Studio study stuff, because I want to kind of. Oh, here's my personal Discord, by the way. People can join for people who can join in the classroom chat here. So on my personal Discord, another thing I want to draw people's attention to is the Super Space Cadet sector. When you join the Discord, you automatically get like this orange name here. Oh, what? Oh yeah, vetted user. For some reason those are gray. I'm gonna have to change that because I wanted them to not stand out. But anyway, so you'll notice a lot of gray. You'll notice a lot of like neon green names and orange names. The orange names is the default category everyone on my server gets sorted into. I ping that about like once or twice a day tops, usually around the times that I'm doing a class or something, like here. But there's also I will also like ping people whenever I'm like sitting down to do like a special like study session or something like that. Like I'll ping the Super Space Cadets, which is this category right here. This is a special opt-in category in my Discord that I ping more frequently, that you can click this to opt in and out of. Right there. You can click that and click that to opt in and click that again to opt out anytime you want. The idea being is that you want to keep my Discord unmuted. So you'll be pinged whenever there's like special events going on, whenever like we're watching a movie or doing study sessions together. This last week we were looking at Aeon Flux and Peter Chung. We also looked at the Inkall and in Mobius's work. And we of course also looked at Trad Moore and a bunch of other stuff. We also like watch interesting movies and TV shows. Like watch Owl House and other things like that in the Discord. It's just like hang out and study and vibe together stuff. Where we're just like, and if you want to be pinged for like special little small events like that, you can use this category. In the future, I'm going to set it up so that like there's a special separate ping for like movie night or figure drawing or things like that, so that I can do specialized pings just for those so that people can opt in on. And I'm going to get that by getting the pay version of the MeSeek spot, which will let me set up something like exactly like this for each of the categories, so people can just do a one click to opt in. So if you want to help me upgrade that, if you want to help me upgrade that, donations to the server or subscribing on my Patreon or anything like that would help me out. And if you want to find out about info about that, there's support the server section here, which is a full list of different ways you can support the server. If you want to check that out. But anyway, so yeah, we also have a new 18 and up over section, which currently I have to manually opt people in. I think I definitely want to upgrade the MeSeek spot to let people opt in. So you'd request access in here for that. Just state your name, you state your age. You have to be 18 or older, and this is the section that we're going to be doing studies of art nudes and stuff in here. It's very important you have to be 18 or older for that. So yeah. So yeah, here's the site stuff. This is the Discord, by the way, that I was talking about. Let me actually find out from them if I can invite you guys to the Discord for the drink and draw. Let me ask them real quick. Actually, I'll ping the owner of the Discord. Hey, I have a bunch of people from my figure drawing class stream who might want in on the drink and draw. can I share an invite link with them? There we go. So I pinged him. Well, we'll let him respond to that. But yeah. So in addition to that, there is a let's see. So there's a there's an anime studio. There's a lady who owns an anime studio. Oh, here we go. It is Maru Exposito. They gave me a bunch of here's their actual studio website right here. They're an anime studio in Japan run by a French lady. But they have like some job training program stuff that they do, and they gave me they pointed me to a bunch of job training resources and stuff. But they do like these kind of like short projects that are a combination of like volunteer work for job training. So they're like kind of like non-profit films or whatever to teach people, and combination of that and like also like hooking up people for freelance paid gigs. But they've got quite a lot of really good talented people that work with them and stuff. But anyway, so they've got a YouTube section. They've got a YouTube channel where they talk about workflow and in Clip Studio and other things, and they do some really great interviews. This right here is I would say this is a must-view interview with a really good animator who I know named the animator and artist I know named Porky. He's got some amazing art and animation to check out some of his work. And that's some of his animation. That's some more of his animation. He's really cool. But yeah, you want to check this out, their YouTube channel is, I'll link it in the classroom chat and Discord. They are someone who I might be doing a volunteer job training thing with in the future. So they gave me some materials to go over. I'm going to be actually maybe trying to dip into some of that this weekend. So they do most of their production work in Clip Studio. Thankfully, that's the main thing I've been using to draw in lately. So I'll be pretty fluent with the brushes and other things in it already. Yeah, I'll also link that in the Twitch chat. I do recommend checking them out. Alright, so Lord Spew gave me the okay. I'm going to create an invite link. I'll set it to expire after 1 day. And I'll just generate a new link, copy. Okay, so I linked that in the Twitch chat. And I'm going to link that in the classroom chat. 1 second. So there we go. This is the link to the Come and Draw online Discord. You go here. Here's the Come and Draw announcements. Let me show here. They got a. Where's the thread where they post the draw collabs? Oh yeah, this is one of the ones that I was in on, where we did like a forest scene. But yeah, come in. There's a lot of like animation professionals and student animators in here. There's quite a lot of people who work on like Titmouse and Adult Swim in here for some reason. But yeah. The way they'll do it is there's gonna be a voice channel that people join, and they'll post a Magma Studio or an Agio link there for people. And we'll be doing that after the stream shuts down. And like let's just hang out until they get started on the drink and draw actually. So we'll camp the Discord this kind of vibe till then. So people can join up and whatnot. And just be chill when you're in there too. Just try to be on good behavior. Try not to talk over people and let people talk, and give people space to finish sentences and stuff. Like, I'm hoping it doesn't get too rowdy, you know. It is a drink and draw, of course, so it's going to get a little rowdy. That's inherent. Love how absolutely warped those fingers are in that one image there. Really cool shit. But yeah, in the time we have left, if anyone has any other questions that I'd be happy to answer. We're just going to be waiting on the drink and draw to start, and we'll just join up with them. I will, of course, be ending the Twitch. Like I said, I will, of course, be ending the Twitch stream once the drink and draw starts. So we'll be doing stuff in their Discord for the rest of the evening. Yeah, I think this last week, the biggest difference is that I've pretty much doubled the amount of time and effort I put into figure drawing. And also, I've given myself permission to focus on this subject, like, so I can really, like, focus on mastering it. Or at least, like, not necessarily mastering it, but, like, getting, like, really, really super fluent and comfortable with it and, like, kind of finding my voice in my drawing. Because I think that that is going to fuel, like, my ability to do good animation and good storyboards more than anything else. Like, it's giving me a huge juice of confidence and stuff to just, like, play with this stuff. And then continually going to refine it. So let's take a look. See if there's any updates in the Discord. Oh, oh, the missile circus thing that he was doing. That's not a missile circus, but it has missile circus components. Gregory's doing like Gregory's actually was like, he hasn't really done missile circuses before, so he's kind of doing that now on his recent streams. Yeah, you can see like he utilizes a lot of the stuff that we're practicing, like in this, like the gestural force in 3D space and so on. Definitely check out Gregory Chen's work for sure, aka Porky. Here we go. Porky boy. There's his Twitch right here. It's the general draw thread in their Discord. I'm a little bit exhausted right now, but oof. I'm ready to keep drawing and sketching and having fun for the evening when we get to the drink and draw. Oh, they're ready to go. All right, folks. I'm gonna shut down the stream. We're gonna pop into the drink and draw. So I'll pop over there right now. So thank you all for coming, and thank you all for coming. I'll leave you with this image. See you in the drink and draw, and your nightmares.